lady, then like the broadcast, share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends. Tell all of them to join us. Like, Maiyegun is live. It's quite a moment, you know that. So thank you. So tonight, we are going to delve into the new trending face-off between Dangote and the oil and gas sector saboteurs in Nigeria. As, of course, for every, I've seen you there too, sir. Just reason. Thank you for joining us. Okay. I think I should begin to kind of like say hello to you with your names appearing on the screen, like Totu and others. You know what I mean? So that you can always know that I always recognize your presence, every one of you. But you are just too numerous to be mentioned every now and then. But yeah, I'll be mentioning you once in a while now. Okay. So yeah, early this year, Dangote and the Dangote refinery, right? They went into this face-off with the supposed regulatory body, the petroleum. In fact, they actually have a name. Give me a sec. So they are called the NMDPRA. There are just so many of them. Okay, so NMDPRA simply means Nigerian Mainstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, led by one Mallam Farouk Ahmed, who last year was also in a face-off with the same Dangote when he said his own agency, they have checked this Dangote refinery, and their findings showed that it is just about 50% completed, like 50% completion, and therefore cannot, be relied upon when it comes to fuel supply in Nigeria. And also the quality of his product is not that standard. If you can remember that Dangote had to go and bring the product from his refinery and presented it to the media and said, look at this. This is from Nigeria, imported fuel. This is mine. And you know, Nigeria and Nigerians for a very long time have been made to believe that it was the corrupt people in government and their friends, the oil marketers, that they are those who killed the refineries in Nigeria so that their importation business, as well as a subsidy they were collecting, could be very much like remain the same. So Nigerians believe that, like, without the cooperation of the people in government, Nigerian refineries would not just die. So when Dangote refinery was coming up, there were people who ordinarily believed that indeed it was going to face serious kind of like a backlashes or pushback or sabotage from the people who have been the regular players in the industry. So with all these speculations and every other thing, right, a lot then happened. Indeed, the oil marketers are saying Dangote is a known crony capitalist, somebody who doesn't really play by the rules, but he's so influential that it could change. I mean, government changes their policies to suit what works for Dangote. He's been accused of that privilege. So we call him quota system billionaire. Okay, I call him quota system billionaire. But there's so much story behind that. However, on the global stage, Dangote and Dangote Group, Dangote Refinery is considered as a great kind of like achievement for Nigeria, that if it could get the government protection, right, it is something that could save Nigeria economy because of how much Nigeria kind of expended on subsidy. All these good projections and all that. But behind the scene, between 2023 and 2024, no, let's roll it back a bit. Between 2015 and 2023, Nigeria imported a total of 10 or so million liters of petrol from Malta. But between 2023 and 2024 alone, Nigeria's imports, Nigerians' importation of a fuel, right, petrol product from Malta jumped from 10 million in 8 years, $10 million in 8 years to over $1.2 billion. Something that eventually the backstory was that, the Tifnumbu's alleged nephew, the Tinubu and his group, they have successfully bought a new kind of like refinery to blend. They call it for blending. So they blend all these chemicals together or whatever, right? To send their product to Nigeria, blending. So therefore, they have recently purchased that after Tifnubu became your president, okay? So, and their biggest partner, their biggest trade partner is NNPC. And NNPC is the one that has the singular kind of like a license to import fuel into Nigeria. So this license is what they now give to their preferred, and then the whole deal around subsidy and the whole story of corruption around it. So you get government involvement. So now that you have your own refinery, as some will believe or say, okay, now that you have your own refinery, Dangote no longer have access to Nigerian crude oil. That it was that bad that is importing his crude oil from Texas in the US, right? These are also like the background, problems, right? But to him, is able and is capable, his refinery is capable to supply the entire market in Nigeria. So he went on to go and convince Tifnumbu. Convincing Tifnumbu that, listen, if these people have so much money to invest in refineries outside Nigeria, why can't they bring the money back and like invest it in Nigeria? 47 licenses were issued. Out of the 47, only 2 or 3 of them are currently, only him has managed to build one. Another person is the Bua guy, right? He's building one as well, I think in Akwa Ibom or somewhere, right? So he's not completed this, all because of this bureaucracy and all of that behind the scene, which Dangote is telling us about. So he convinced Tifnumbu that they should put or place 15% tax on every imported liter of petroleum into Nigeria from January. So don't think it's only just this new tax law that some of you are debating right now, right? There are so many complexities, there are so many branches to it, okay? But I won't confuse you talking about this oil and gas. So Dangote and his group managed to convince Kolu, and before you know it, Kolu's regime announced that from January, they were going to place 15% on every liter of petroleum imported into Nigeria. Well, to protect Dangote. And that sounded like, okay, that's a done deal. So Dangote went into town, reduced his price by a tiny bit, and and that is something that other private oil marketers, is that what they call them? Right? Something like that. So private oil marketers who usually controls these prices. And the only people that manages to quench their thirst, their greed, is their other greedy friends in government that will pay them subsidy. And I'm still telling you this up to this moment. Tifnumbu lied to you that he's not paying subsidy on imported fuel to Nigeria. And I told you that they still pay it up to tomorrow. But they just don't call it oil subsidy, fuel subsidy anymore. They call it a dollar subsidy, which is secretly being paid to the same NNPC partners bringing fuel into Nigeria. Between October and November 2025, NNPC and their partners, they imported 1.1 billion liters of petroleum into Nigeria. This was supposed to be the NNPC who were supposed to have a working refinery. Remember the completed refinery, but completely dead now, right? So they are now saying, if Dangote's wish is granted, as it is granted, it's been granted already, but it is not yet January. If that should sail through, Dangote would have won by cutting them off the business. Because who is going to buy a petroleum that is probably like over 1,000 naira per liter when Dangote believes that, it could sell it to you for 750 naira per liter. So somehow, they managed to reconvince Tinubu. And how did they do that? Farouk Ahmed, the supposed what is their name again? Yeah, NMDPRA, Mallam Farouk Ahmed, this guy, now wrote to Tinubu to give, because that is his own job, okay, to access, what do you call it? To access if it is ideal to depend on Dangote and begin to reduce the importation of fuel, which is where they are making the secret money that they are hiding from you. All of this will come to light later, don't worry. So if the 15% is placed on that, that would be tragedy. And Dangote, who is sure of being able to produce 1.5 billion liters, 2 billion liters monthly, right, would then dominate the entire country. So this guy wrote to Tinubu. I think it's actually part of, what do you call it? The part of the media output that Dangote said, this is the handiwork of the saboteurs within. And that's why he went straight for this guy. So they put out this press statement, say, NMDPRA wishes to assure the general public that there is adequate supply of petroleum products in the country within the acceptable national sufficiency threshold during this peak demand period. There is robust domestic supply of petroleum products, AGO, PMS, LPG, etc., sourced from both local refineries and importation to ensure timely replenishment of stocks at storage, depot, and retail stations during this period. The authority wishes to use this opportunity to advise against any hoarding, panic buying, or non-market blah, 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 blah. So this is for public. But the one for our call that triggered Dangote's new meltdown, sort of, is that they now gave what they called numerical evidence of what Dangote is actually capable of, which Dangote said they were all lies, they're all bullshit put together. Because the 15% they placed on importation of or an imported fuel from January has been suspended. Here you get, they've suspended it now. Like, no, that means they should bring more fuel. How did they arrive at that? This guy and his own agency convinced Tinubu that it's not ideal to do that. Dangote can't supply enough fuel. Not this period, not in the future right now. Do you get what I mean, right? So because of that, that policy, announced policy, got suspended. I mean, they didn't change it, got suspended. That is the influence of Dangote. How then did they manage to now withdraw that? Dangote had to call the media where the entire meltdown comes in. So Dangote said, the mafia in their oil sector, they are kind of like deadlier than the drug mafias. That's how he put it. Then he went straight for this guy. He said, look at him, a corrupt officer, who sent his children to Switzerland, Abinkan, right? And he spent $6 million for 6 years for 4 of his children who schooled in. So where did he get that money? On what salary? Alaji want to fight in here. But before that, immediately Dangote got the wind of that. Okay, they've cancelled that 15% sort of like a tax. That means they've come for him. So what did he do? First, Dangote announced a 100 billion naira education fund. I am actually going to break that down for you at some point, okay? He announced 100 billion naira education support fund for students in Nigeria. Then he also announced the reduction in the, in his own gantry price, which will also lead to reduction at the pump price. You know what I mean? Like before you go to the filling station. So from 800 and something down to 740 naira. And it's going to kick that off by Tuesday. So by so doing, Nigerians were like, yeah, Why are people always want to destroy this man's business and all of that? Well, here is his own first why. Have you shared this broadcast? Just a reminder. Have you? Thank you. Now here, Alaji's first salvo, the mafia in oil industry, like they are deadlier than the drug cartels. The oil cartels are deadlier than the drug cartel. Like which cartel is bigger than Dangote in Nigeria? Let's be honest. Anyway, let's start with this.
No, it's okay. No, don't worry. Let me answer him. Yes. Well, you are talking about sabotage, and I'm happy that you are also here in Nigeria. I don't know whether Mele Kyari is still in town, but I think you should go to his house in Maitama and ask him how many sabotages the Port Harcourt refinery repairs went through. I think he'll be able to tell you. But I'm telling you, he told me many times they have had more than 100 sabotages at the refinery. You can ask him, he will tell you. So, our own, yes, when they even sabotage you, they go and remove. We have a boiler, you know, boiler? 400 tons is the largest boiler ever built in the world. It was under operation. Somebody went there and removed a spare part out of it. If I tell you the sabotages that we went through, including some of the machine manufacturers who are in verge of going to court, so I cannot tell you what. But if I now go and tell you, you will now know what I'm saying. And that's why I told you that drugs mafia, they are actually smaller than the people who are in oil and gas. Because in the drug, most of people who are in the drugs, you know yourselves. But in the oil sector, they have robbed so many people in. So about whether somebody will, I mean, you should ask now, how come now, for example, all the pipelines that we built, right from the military days to date, none of them. The one that we have, which is from where I am from, Kano, that depot, we are not using trucks. The depots were only going to the trucks to load. Everything was piped up to there. 22 depots were built. They are all piped. All the 22 depots, actually even the sediments, they don't have it anymore. They have destroyed the pipes, all of them. So if it's not sabotage, is that earthquake? It's not earthquake now, because it's sabotage. Sabotage is sabotage. So that is what it is. I mean, we knew. I mean, in this refinery, we have lost maybe 82 million, right, dollars of stolen items. Yes, $82 million of stolen items. And what they were actually trying to do is to make sure that we go and put massive claim on insurance. So when we put massive claim on insurance, there's no free lunch. So continuously our insurance premium will just keep going up. So I mean, yes, there is sabotage, there is. And I'm sure you should go and ask all the people who have even built the modular refineries, and I challenge any one of them to say that nothing was stolen. And people will come here with long distance, they will cut cables and put it, rope it on their body to try and see how they can take it out. And when you ask them, okay, fine, what are you doing with it? It's just sabotage. That's why we have more security people in this refinery than actual workers of the refinery.
So talking about sabotage and saboteurs, people who have always attempted to, tamper with his equipment, the blah, and all of that stuff. Then those in government who are also using bureaucracy to sabotage him. Dangote. I think he's kind of like managed to learn the art of using the media to whip sentiment, empathy, and the rest of that. When the crisis, it wasn't meant to be a crisis anyway, the face-off between himself and those Pengasson. Remember, majority of Nigerians who supported him felt like the Pegasus were saboteurs, and what started it? His own workers, so that the workers will be able to determine, their conditions and their work conditions, their pay, and all of that by forming a union. But no, what did Dangote do? Right? First, he sacked them. Then the next thing, he called them back. But by calling them back, they all have to sign that they will not join any union and the rest of that. So when they all signed all of that, right, then he moved 100% of them out of the entire refinery. And it was justified. Guess what? Everyone who got recruited would have to accept whatever terms. I mean, it's got to be on Dangote's set terms. So outside that, it's a no-no. So he managed to win that. You know what I mean? So, but for this guy, I don't know how much he wanted the control of the oil sector of Nigeria. And rightly so. I think he's earned it. If we're all being honest, right? He's earned it. It's got a functional refinery that is still improving, right? So if they have a free market, right, I don't think he should be worried because he will still have the upper hand. There was a time on this platform I said, from all researches and everything, including inflation, factoring inflation, weakened naira, and the rest of that, for what you can derive from a single barrel of a crude oil, Dangote shouldn't be selling a liter of petroleum more than 500 naira per liter in Nigeria. Well, yeah, they've got the other excuses. For example, it's got to kind of like a transport or this crude from Texas and okay, put 20 naira on it. It will still make a lot of money. It will be making so much money in that sense, right? So anybody who now traveled out of Nigeria to go and bring a petroleum product to Nigeria at the landing cost of, let's say, 800 naira, how much is he going to sell it to you? You get what I mean? So they're always going to run at a loss. So his move to place 15% on imported fuel, even if he has the capacity to supply the entire Nigeria, is sort of monopolistic in nature, which simply means the moment he killed opposition, he killed, rivals and I wanted to say opposition because it's politics sometimes. Competitors, they call them in business, right? The moment he kills all competition, he will be the only one. So around that time, he can decide how much he is going to sell any of his product to millions of you. And there will be nothing anybody can do about it. Because where are they going to start from? All these depot everywhere will die naturally. All of them will die. You get what I mean? I mean, if he finishes with these importers, you get, then those local refiners, he will kill all of them. With one policy or the other, they will get rid of them. Now, that is scary because it was meant to be competitive. If anybody can bring 300 naira per liter fuel from outside Nigeria, the regulatory body or the regulatory agency, their own is to check the standard, the quality that they will allow into the country. If somebody can bring a quality liter of fuel to Nigeria at the rate of 300 naira per liter, it should be competitive. But Dangote doesn't want that. And that's Dangote being Dangote. Do you get what I mean now? He is a bullish capitalist. And he does it with the cover of charitable, days, like building this massive mosque, giving millions or billions to education support, sending people to Hajj, and all those kind of things that ordinarily you would be like, it's meant to be competitive. Nigeria is a producing country. Ordinarily, you should have, God knows, like how many refineries in Nigeria. In Texas alone, if I'm not exaggerating, right? In Texas alone, they said there are over 45 refineries, functional refineries in Texas alone, out of other oil producing places in America. You get me now? You are going to see all the oil field there. They are all like extracting, yeah, refining and all of that. But Nigeria won't go like that. So the person that Dangote believe is a serious problem, why did he go for his family? People are asking, what will make Dangote to actually leave every other things, right? And go straight for this guy's family to tell us that he's a very corrupt person. That how much is his salary? Eh? That's all this oil sector filled with all these cabals and the rest of them. Yusuf Ahmed, you got what I mean? Farouk Ahmed rather sent his children, 4 of his children, to Switzerland for education, and he spent $6 million. That he should ask him, and if he denies, he is ready to give evidence of that. Even though they said that the children of this guy, they were on scholarship. Now, it's crazy, right? People are saying the children of this guy were on scholarship, that the 4 of them got scholarship. And this was like years ago, before his appointment to head this department. So you get now that what will make Dangote go to that level in his fight to protect his business, as is currently being kind of make everybody understand, like, you know. So Dangote said, this guy spent $6 million sending his children to school abroad. He's got properties all over the place, and people should ask him, where did he get all of that money from? Dangote. No, $5 million rather.
Nigeria is supposed to be the refining hub of not even West Africa, of the sub-Saharan African region. You know, we have the crude and we have the refineries. If our own continues to work, you have the NNPC's refineries. So our own and NNPC is over 1 million tons. 1 million tons can feed the entire West Africa and Central Africa. So, and I don't know why, we should continue to allow, some corrupt government officials to try and destroy a whole sector of the economy. And I think it is something that when you look at it, I've had actually people making complaint about a regulator who has actually put his children in secondary school, and that secondary school education, which is 6 years, 4 of them cost Nigeria $5 million. I mean, you cannot imagine somebody paying $5 million for educating 5 children. Even my own children, they didn't go to those schools. My children went to Nigerian secondary school. They didn't go outside Nigeria to attend secondary school. I don't know about your children, Tony, but mine, yes. So, and this is a system that, some of us, because you know what, we're taxpayers. When people are complaining, we also complain, because the issue is that, yes, when I pay tax, I want to see that my money is being put to use, not to be stolen. But today, as we speak, the S, I don't know what is the, that is the authority chief executive, Mallam Farouk. Mallam Farouk has 4 of his children that he educated in Switzerland at the cost of $5 million for their secondary school education alone, not university. And I know that one of them just finished Harvard. So I want to now see what kind of system are we operating, that people are now busy destroying a country, taking money from the government. Because when you look at his income does not match paying this kind of fees. I think even if it's me paying $5 million for 6 years for my 4 children, the taxman has to look at my taxes, how much are paid. And really, this sort of thing, we're not going to allow it to continue. We'll take it up to the highest authority so that they will look at it. You know, people who have done something wrong must be prosecuted. It must be prosecuted, you know, because there is actually no way where somebody will now come. I mean, today, from where he comes from, Sokoto, people are struggling to pay 100,000 naira for school fees of secondary school. And a lot of children are at home, not going to school because of 100,000 naira. Tony, can you pay this fee? No, I'm asking now. Can you?
I can't.
Okay, so if you cannot afford, I cannot understand why somebody who has worked all his life in government and he has 4 children that he has paid $5 million. I've seen that people have taken this post and nobody is listening to them. So we will actually join them to make sure that this is done properly. The man must come and explain to Nigerians how he paid $5 million for 6 years of his 4 children's education. And I don't think if any one of you has actually paid that kind of fees for your own, children. So we can't allow this to continue, because we must make sure that people don't come and destroy a country just because they want to make a living that is not genuine, or that is not legal. Because I mean, for somebody to have this sort of money, he must be supported by people. He should come out and tell people how did he make $5 million to educate his children in Switzerland with a cost of $5 million. And when these questions are answered before we go to the to the court, he should come out and reply. This is what we have seen, and I think we must make sure that this system, this what do you call it, this downstream, must not be destroyed by one single person because of personal interest. Nigeria.
When I don't hear Alaji Dangote, the richest black man on earth. That's quite serious. So he went straight for the guy he believes truncated whatever he kind of like settled with Tinubu. He is accusing him point blank straight up. We are the taxpayers, and he is actually the highest taxpayer in Nigeria as well. Yeah, he paid more taxes than MTN, because I think they are just, maybe if you combine all the telecoms together, but Dangote refineries actually pays a lot. So he's right when he says they are taxpayers and they have the right to question how their money is being spent. $5 million. He kept repeating it, $5 million. And they wanted the guy to actually respond. So maybe we should just say Dangote for president. So it can just be the Donald Trump for Nigeria, I think. Yeah. So that right now, I mean, the highest payer in the country now wants to question how the tax is being spent, because he realizes that these people are so corrupt that they would rather destroy a country. So he's now talking about the country, not even just about his own business anymore. Yeah. Oh, there is more. He said more. Currently, I don't think Farouk will have anything to say. If you call Farouk right now, it's likely going to be like this.
Àbọ̀lọ̀fẹ́ bá tiẹ̀ jẹ́ níbo ló ti mọ̀ mí bó lè ti mi àti ẹ ti dàpọ̀ kí ló dé mi àti ẹ pọ̀. Àbọ̀lọ̀fẹ́ bá tiẹ̀ jẹ́ níbo ló ti mọ̀ mí bó lè ti mi àti ẹ ti dàpọ̀ kí ló dé mi àti ẹ pọ̀.
Like Farouk, sure you get. But here is Dangote.
And also for some kind of unquote sabotage.
Yes, I mean, if now you have a bakery and I have your template, I know that your cost is 1,000 naira, and I'm coming to sell that bread in front of your bakery at 800. What is that one? Is that, are you praying for me or you are sabotaging me? So that is sabotage. And the issue is that all what I'm just saying, the key message is that I think we are allowing Farouk to destroy the economy of Nigeria. And I think we should not allow him to continue sabotaging and destroying the economy of Nigeria. That's what I keep saying, that look, we have a refinery. Even if Farouk will be there for the next 100 years, we cannot close this refinery. Even at a loss, we have to continue to run the refinery. It's too big, loud. I mean, have you ever seen an airline that's losing money that will go and just shut down? They won't shut down now. They will continue struggling, praying for a better day to come. That better day will come. Okay, so what is the key message? The key message, I think, Peru should not be allowed to continue to destroy the economy of Nigeria. That's number one. Number one, B, C, D, E, F. It is that he has to be charged to either CCB. No, it's CCB, I think. No, Code of Conduct Bureau, because they have his returns. He must have filed and register what he had, and so he needs to tell, because he's been working for government all his life. So he should tell, I know what it is. I told you earlier, I will not be able to afford sending 4 of my children to a secondary school, not university, to a secondary school to Switzerland at $5 million for the 6 years of 4 kids that he has. Okay, if you deny, as a matter of fact, if you deny, because after I know that it will be the major headline tomorrow. So when he denies it, I will publish with my name, saying that these are the schools that they attended and co. As a matter of fact, I will sue those schools to publish how much of fees he has paid for all the time that they were there, including now the other information which you don't have. He should give us the universities they went to and spent 4 years, how much he has paid. I know that one of them just finished Harvard, and tuition alone he paid $150,000. That is the main story tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
So, in a nutshell, Olopamako everybody. So Dangote is now saying he's actually going into the ring with this guy because he believes that if he could get rid of him, I mean, Dangote wants to pull his weight for the first time in the public. Usually, right? Dangote is not somebody, I mean, for years, many of us never heard Dangote talk, said anything per se, other than maybe some organized interviews, Ovation magazines. You know what I mean? He never really speak to anybody like that. But since this refinery thing started, a Kovila say people always talk about him. They always talk about his monopolistic things, about his influence, and he never said anything. He won't say anything. But since Tinubu became the president, Dangote self has grabbed the media to tell his own story, to fight his own fight, like what we're about to witness. So is Tinubu going to probably let Dangote flex all of that, or is just going to remove Farouk? I don't know. Yeah. So Dangote is willing to go as far as publishing details, and he's a billionaire, so you probably wouldn't just think he's making things up, right? I mean, he's lied a few times since this whole thing started. For those who have been tracking like myself, he's lied a few times to have his way. So, but when it comes to, I am ready to publish and I put my name on it and I will sue the school in Switzerland to publish this, and that. Just like Atiku sued, what's that one called again? The Chicago University, at the University of Chicago, Chicago State University, to release Tifnubu's record. And that led to long legal abracadabra, yeah? So, but for Dangote, the world richest black man, it may be a different ball game, yeah? But in the absence of all of, I mean, why that is going on, I believe. So Dangote also concluded and said, he's still willing to be brutish, like he's willing to face them face to face. That currently he's using 4,000 trucks, CNG trucks, to to distribute his products all over Nigeria. So his main goal is to make sure that there is a unified product of a fuel across Nigeria. And like he's projecting 740 naira per liter, the CEO of that agency, not only to be sacked, though, he is to be investigated. But outside that, yeah, this is also what he's planning to do. Then this is where he wants you to remember, Dangote Refinery is your pride, oh. Don't let these politicians take it. So sure you get, it's all for you. It's Nigeria's own, oh. Dangote.
47 licenses were issued. What happened? Why are they not doing it? Who is building a refinery today in Nigeria? You're right. We are investing. Do you know why we are doubling our own, capacity? Because we are going out of this market to go to other markets and sell our products. I mean, somebody, was telling me that, but you are going to disrupt the international market. I say, well, if you want to call me a disruptor, fine, no, but my own, I will, double, because our refinery has a lot of futures where we have already spent money for for thinking of doubling. So there are some sections of the refinery we don't have to replicate. So it's going to cost me much less, and my cost of production will go lower. And then I will be able to compete. Whether you allow Russia, you allow anybody to now come, we will be here. They will meet us in the market. But that is why I am saying that yes, anybody who wants to, even if they want to import now, let them continue to import. It's okay. We meet in the market. I will take the products. And I told somebody, say, well, what about if these 4,000 trucks, they are not enough? I say, if 4,000 are not enough, we'll buy another 4,000. Because as we speak today, in the Dangote group, we have 10,250 CNG trucks. And if the business needs more, we'll do more. It's a logistics business. So that's what is it. But what you are saying, I think you are trying to dodge the issue. But let me say it for you. It's a sabotage. There are a lot of interested parties. You have your email. I will ask Tony tomorrow to send you how many billions of liters were brought into Nigeria, especially in the last 2 months. And I think it is totally unethical, and it is not good. This refinery, we have already built our own. Other people, they will not be able to build their own if this thing continues. And I mean, it's Nigeria that's losing. Okay, it's not me as Dangote that is losing. Okay, because if you if you look at it, my own lifestyle is as simple as your own. I don't need the money. Okay, we are offering what the country needs. If it's about making money and I want to make money, I should have gone to the stock market of America and invest in the Googles, Microsoft, and co. I would have been richer if it's about being rich. So it's not about being rich, because in refinery you can ask anybody. Refining margins are not that great; it's very small. So I wouldn't be doing that one. I would have gone. Can you imagine now if I go with 20 billion to buy all these blocks of Shell and co, and even at overpriced? Do you know what I will be producing? I'll be producing maybe 1 million barrels a day with 20 this, Because you calculate all this on Chevron and Co, when they checked out of the country, they sold their own, oil blocks. How much were they? Calculate right from the last 20 years. Those blocks transactions are not worth more than the 20 something billion which we invested here. So it's not about making money, it's about making sure that yes, we have done the right thing. Maybe we made a mistake, I don't know, but I don't think it is a mistake because we are providing what the country has been crying for. And I know that yes, maybe today people might not appreciate us, but maybe in the next 20, 30, 50 years when we are not around, then people will remember what we have done. They will appreciate us more.
Thank you for the clarification.
40.
I mean, that's kind of like emotional. Oh, well, that's so true. I mean, this is yours. You should embrace it. Under what comes may. Look at what Nigeria have lost in this same downstream sector. There are those who are responsible for it. So don't let them do this to me, okay? Because at the end of the day, this is meant to be yours. I don't need the money. If it's about needing money, I know where to go and put my billions, Microsoft, put money here and there, and I will have money. Dangote. I seem to say money no the other places as well. Anyway, the House of Representative members are asking him and these other guys to shift their SWOT. They claim to be the petroleum sector, House Committee on Petroleum or House Committee on Downstream Sector. Ikenga is their spokesperson or maybe he's their leader too.
So the emergency meeting of the Downstream Petroleum Committee of the House of Representatives just ended. And let me also appreciate, first of all, the committee appreciates the Speaker of the House for the support as always given to this committee. And also to appreciate members who within a short notice were able to turn out, and my deputy also. The key issue here that necessitated the emergency meeting was the growing tension that has returned back in the downstream sector as a result of the concerns raised by Alhaji Aliko Dangote of the Dangote refinery and the NNDPRA. These issues, for as long as the committee is concerned, is coming at a time where the committee is guiding jealously the stability that we have achieved in the downstream petroleum sector. So the committees met today and agreed to intervene in the matter once again towards finding sustainable solutions. And we can only find sustainable solutions when we identify the critical issues that is leading to this tension that has returned. And that is why the committee resolved to write communication to Alhaji Aliko Dangote and also the NNDPRA authority chief to meet with the committee to be able to give us details and insights into what are the underlying issues that is leading to these allegations and counter allegations. And the committee also resolved this afternoon to plead with the contending parties in the dispute to cease fire, especially media comments, so that we don't escalate the situation further, because the committee has the capacity to wade into this matter and find solutions once and for all to these issues. So we are pleading with the key actors in the dispute to cease fire, to reduce the allegation and counter allegations, as the committee will get to the root of the matter. Some of those issues, we already have received petitions from some of the parties on the issue of import license, on the issues of whether the domestic refineries have capacity to produce the entire daily need of Nigerians. All these issues will be resolved by the time Alhaji Aliko Dangote, the NNDPRA, and other key stakeholders in the downstream refining sector and regulatory sector comes and meets with the committee, so that we can be able to get the real gist of what is happening and be able to come up with a resolution and solution that will provide sustainable solutions. So we're pleading with them to cease forthwith further attacks on each other, whether the agency, whether the refining, whether the agency or the refining community, the refining.
Tear gas him. They tear gas him. He fell. He fainted. He passed out. He passed out. 70 years old man.
So the question should be, waiting Ikenga won't resolve. Is Ikenga's committee going to tell those who wanted their importation of fuel to continue, so please don't do that, and allow the 15% tax on imported fuel? Or is Ikenga going to tell Dangote to do the last part of his interview, to do what he said in the last part of his interview, let the market decide? So I don't know what Ikenga won't go resolve. Go. Good luck. Just before this program started, the supposed private depot owners in Nigeria, they also announced a reduction, a massive reduction in the price of a petroleum product in their own depots. Dangote reduced his down to 740 naira, which will start tomorrow. However, the local, or should I say the private depot owners, the oil importers themselves also, they have now reduced their own to 710 naira per liter. That's good, right? I mean, that should be the healthy part. Those of you who are so worried about December, traveling, the cost of a liter of petroleum, this should be good. I mean, it should be a good thing, right? If the transporters will usually double the price of, because of transportation, right? It's simply because, so yeah, it's expensive, fuel is expensive, it's a utility and all of that stuff. They won't be able to have that serious pull over you this time, simply because what would be their excuse? That petroleum is expensive now? The price of so and so has increased or what? Nah, I don't think so. But just get ready. Now, you see, this next story is such a very sad one. And I don't know how I'm going to make my facial expression, okay? Yesterday, the Nigerian Air Force, they put together their coordinates, and they were so convinced that an intel which just came in was that the ISWAPs, the Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists, that they were gathering somewhere around a river in Borno State, a place called the Kukawa, Abina Kakua. No, it's actually Kukawa. Sorry about that, yeah. It is Kukawa local government area. It was a river around the area, right? So they put all this together and they flew there, they bombed them. And then they, released the news to say, oh yeah, they've the military or the Air Force just eliminate some group of ISWAPs, like they neutralized them. And I was quite like, oh, that was a good one. Only for us to realize the day after that, these were just villagers, fishermen, who were after their supposed fishing, what do you call the fishing, hunting, whatever, right? So they were taking their harvest to town. There were trucks, there were fishes, and all of the basket of that. And then until the bomb came. This was published by Nigerian Air Force as a very, very successful operation. But they ended up being just villagers. The number of casualties unknown, and the level of the destruction can't actually be ascertained as at this hour. mean, the aesthetic was great. It was more or less like, oh, they've mapped their trucks, their vehicles. Over 10 vehicles, over 10 kind of like trucks were destroyed. And there was no sight of any form of ammunition or anything around there. We're just villagers. Now, the number killed is currently like, yet to be officially disclosed, and we may never know. So a week or so ago, or 2 weeks ago, we saw what we believed to have been a joint coordinated effort between the officials in Nigeria and the US officials, the African guys who have been doing area surveillance, mapping, and the rest of that in some of the hottest zones in Nigeria where these terrorists domicile, especially Lake Chad, right? And they've carried out some like strikes with precisions, and there have been no any form of a blowback. But this one happened yesterday in Kukawa in Borno State, and it's always constant, by the way, in Borno State, when they blew up the people in the IDP camp in Ran, right? This was a popular spot that they knew the victims of Boko Haram who ran away from the Boko Haram terrorism, who ended up in this camp. It was popular. People knew, government officials, CSOs, right? All the civil society organizations. People go there, local and international, to give support to these survivors. Then from the blues, when Buhari became the president, Babashir Lawal became the secretary to the government of the federation. An operation was kind of like authorized to go and bomb the place. Not once, not twice, 3 solid times that they killed more than 500 people in that place. These were people who escaped from the bombs, guns, and all of that, the bullets of the terrorists before APC took power. Okay? And that story, well, you all heard, is part of the briefcase achievement of Babashir Lawal, wherever you see him. So it's not the first time they are carrying out a wrong strike. There was also an attack on a wedding. I can't remember the place precisely. This one it happened not long ago as well. Nigerian Air Force. They bombed people who were at weddings, right? In that same northern Nigeria. It was a mistake. And there was never probe, there was never investigation, there was nothing. Just like that. You read it in the news, and then you wait for the next victims. Who's going to kill them? The terrorists, the bandits, what do you call them? The government, and all of that is just so easy to snuff life out of. And the real terrorist, which Sheikh Osama bin Gumi is so very much familiar with, their terrains, their locations, and the rest of that, they are not secrets, according to Gumi. But there was never a time that they mistakenly bombed the camps of these terrorists. It's so mad, it's crazy, right? But yeah, they haven't made any official statement after all, okay? But this is already public, just so you know. And yeah, the next story is similar to this last one, but a little bit different. In Yagba West local government area, right? Here, some what do you call? I want you to listen.
Sarawaka is in law, so Ibon Tedosi Kei, Tedosi B. And how many hours? Hour melos are in the B. So irin bí ìsígboro ó fẹ́ tó wákàtí mẹ́rin ètò ẹ̀rìn ọgbọ́n ẹ̀rìn rè tọ̀ so a mọ̀ bó ṣe wo ìjàn tó ọ̀nà ìmọ̀ ìbáde bí and àrí lọ ibà ìpè Nasarawa òǹkà ìrà ẹ̀ so rí pé àdúgbò ní Fúlàní náà ìgbé gangan kẹ́yìn so ọ̀nì gbogbo rẹ̀ lè bí àtàgùtàn láti gbogbo rẹ̀. How are you? So irú kan ìlọ ìbọn lè kọ́ ìbọn lè. So báyìí pé Nasarawa mọ́rẹ̀ yìí àti dé takọ̀kọ̀ so but ìkejì kejì so àsáfẹ́ wíkàn ra bọ́ọ̀lì gbòòrò àfẹ̀bánfọ́ràn #1 akẹgbà kìí ìrìnàjò orúkọ Nasarawa akẹgbà ẹbí wọn bá ní àmórúkọ rẹ̀ àǹtẹ́bìdó àbá ògbé pẹ̀lú wa sì wà lá àmọ́ amòfìndè gbogbo ọ̀jì nígbé ọ̀sẹ̀ kìíní kankan tí ara Nasarawa rún pẹ́pẹ́ ìwú kan ṣé rí lọ mọ̀ pé Nasarawa rí kan yìí wọn kẹ́yìn so Nasarawa ràn ìwúrẹ́ yìí ọ̀rí wọn lọ gbogbo wọn ṣe kúrọ̀ abàtẹ́dò síbí àjọpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ọ̀nà ìpè Joseph Kìlá òun rò mọ́ gbogbo bí o ẹ sì bẹ mọ́ lè bí òun rò tọ́ aṣọgbọ̀n aṣọ ń tẹ̀lé a aṣọ ń kó alùpùpù mọ́kànlá tó ra kó wá àbájá mọ bí gbogbo obìnrin ṣe rí ó ṣe pàtàkì kí àti kàrà lé ká mọ́ jẹ ìlú sí aṣáwì àǹtígbà ẹ sì ràn gbà o àbàsán ìfẹ́ jẹ̀sí àjẹ̀sí àmọ́ sáà ti rí lọ náà rí Nasarawa káìlà yìí lórí ilẹ̀ ìjìbà kan Nasarawa káìlà yìí.
Those of you Yorubas, like, you could easily understand everything he was saying, I believe, because I kind of understood everything he said. Yeah, those are our own brothers on the Kogi side, Ejiba, Yagba West, local government area of Kogi State. Somebody who is from Ejiba, on Ejiba land, inside deep in the jungle. That is where you have that massive, rickety kind of settlement of the Fulanis. They, who are the owners of the entire area and the lands, they are not aware, or maybe not all of them were aware. So the place has been named Nasarawa, occupied fully by the Fulani. You see that settlement, right? Just give it maybe another 10 years, right? You begin to see proper settlement. They were their Seriki and the rest. If people come around that time and say, we never actually sold this land to you, we never sold this place for you, right? So how come you have actually dominated the whole place? They would say, look at the population. So with the population they have here, Baba, now war go lead to. So they will now say, oh, the people are fighting over land. It's just a land dispute. For peace to reign, let us arrange some arrangements between these people and these settlers. And you have thousands of these kind of settlements all over the place. So the person, the narrator, the voice behind that video, right, was saying they had no problems living with anybody peacefully. But now that they have decided to start kidnapping them, attacking their settlement, and the rest of that, so that is the reason why they wouldn't want to coexist with them, not this way. And discovering that place is pretty much like like a huge eye-opener for a lot of them. Yeah, whatever happened afterward was not covered. The state of Nigeria. The former Attorney General of Nigeria, Abubakar Mallam, I'll keep reminding you, the guy that sold the fake intel to Kenya about Nnamdi Kanu, and just to get him abducted, like to be kidnapped and to be brought to Nigeria. Mallam is a career criminal. He's had all of this protection, which according to people now, with all the characters, the thieves that have been discovered around the Bokwari, right? Obviously shown that Bokwari and his gang, They were more interested about loyalty than accountability. Before Buhari took power, Nigeria was in the process of receiving the recovered loot of the late dictator, Sani Abacha. Everything was done, but the guy who was doing all of that lost election, Jonathan. And the new guys who took over, rather than for them to just finalize the whole thing and get their money and then use the money for what they claimed they would use the money for. No, they didn't do that. They started creating different kind of loopholes, or no, they started plugging in different kind of straws to create conduits of how to kind of like strip so much from that money before the money will get to the last bit, which obviously will be stolen as well. Now, all of that is pretty much in the hands of those who are holding him. So 6 or 7 days ago, a week ago, EFCC invited Malami, Abubakar Mallamu, right, to their office to come and answer some questions because they found that some of the money stolen, allegedly stolen, were traced to over 46 bank accounts. Not just that, you, Mr. Mallamu, you are also being investigated by the DSS and others for terrorism because some of these accounts have transacted again with known terror sponsors, which indirectly means you know them too. So there's this lined up allegation against, accusation against him. Okay, so how much money did Mallamu manage to scrap off from Abacha loot? What other money did Mallamu possibly is guilty of stealing, right? Embezzling. In all of that, Mallamu was given or granted bail. I don't know the condition of the bail, right? But he was granted bail. That bail was 6 days ago. But they said Mallamu couldn't meet the bail conditions. So therefore, he remained in the EFCC detention. So right now, those who are working for him are now calling for your help or for your sympathy or empathy. Because according to them, Mallamu said the current EFCC chairman, Olukayode also, Pastor Olukayode, is that his name again? Yeah, something Kayode. Now he's a pastor, RCCG pastor as well, okay? So Pastor Kayode, the EFCC chairman, Mallamu is accusing him of having something against him when he, Mallamu, was the Attorney General, the Minister of Injustice in Nigeria. Do you get me now? So he believes that the EFCC chairman is deliberately want to punish him by using his office to lock him up. So he's now demanding for your help to call on Tinubu to remove the EFCC chairman because they intentionally want to keep him in detention. Man, this life, you know. Mallamu had to broadcast in Hausa to their Hausa speaking audience in northern Nigeria that he had orchestrated the kidnapping, the abduction of somebody who is demanding for a referendum for the people of the eastern part of Nigeria who are not speaking Hausa or anything to do with Hausa, but he had to broadcast the abduction as the Minister of Injustice to the Hausa speakers. He was so happy. It was like Nigeria just won a World Cup, like, you know, excited. Go and check the video. He looked so excited. He couldn't wait. Then he had to broadcast this to them in Hausa that he has kidnapped Nnamdi Kanu. And they were all happy. And I was wondering, like, hey, why should any Hausa man, any northerner for that matter, be excited that Nnamdi Kanu has been kidnapped by government of Nigeria? Like, why? What would make you? I later realized, though, you get, because somehow, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was preaching this is Biafra and all of that, the first time before they kidnapped him, then they granted him bail. Yeah, their own bail. And their bail condition was that Nnamdi Kanu must never speak to the media and he must not do live broadcast anymore. Sure you get. But few months after that fake bill, which Nnamdi Kanu, according to them, started violating the same day. Like, you can't tell me what to do. So that went on until they decided to just go and kill him, like eliminate him. Nnamdi Kanu managed to escape from his assassins, those who were coming to kill him. And afterward, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu decided to actually spread this message of this Biafra in a different form to the rest of the country, that maybe if all of you actually understands what I am saying and you begin to reason with us, you will not be so hostile, so triggered, so aggressive every time they are talking about Biafra. No, you don't have to be so defensive. You don't have to be aggressive. If you understand, guess what? They launched Radio Biafra, Hausa, in northern Nigeria. I don't know if many of you will still remember though. And suddenly, some of these northerners started listening to Nnamdi Kanu. I mean, like, listening to him. They started kind of, on social media, they started kind of like asking questions that are beginning to be concerning. Like, you can easily say, so you said you have started listening to that Nnamdi Kanu, Abi. Around that time, it was like, dead or alive. Dead or alive, we need to get this guy. Because we don't. If he managed to revolutionize the mind of these guys from northern Nigeria, I'm reminding you all of this because I know some of you probably don't even remember that it was after they kidnapped him. I'm sorry, it was after they first kidnapped him and then they attempted to kill him and he disappeared for a while. That was when he kind of started talking to other people from other places and more or less like making them understand. And he himself was pretty much interested in listening. He met with Showore, met with all kind of a group of people, and he started speaking directly to all tribes or ethnic nationality in the country. I don't know if you remember that, but that's fine. So that was what made Mallam so happy to go back and just go and display it to them in northern Nigeria that if all of you think you can become radicalized because of listening to Nnamdi Kanu, now we have captured him. We have kidnapped him. The man who was feeling on top of the world, speaking Hausa, is now speaking through third party today. He is also in detention too. Yeah, he is in detention. And he's asking this one to be sacked. To be sacked. The one that once bragged that even if the last thing he's going to do was to send Yeye Bello to jail, he will do it. Because this was last year. Today, Yeye Bello is a public campaigner for Tinubu 2027. And Olukayode is setting his word. That's what they do.
A sitting governor, because he knows he's going, move money directly from government to produce the change. Use it to pay the child school fee in advance. In advance. In dollars, yes. In dollars. I think $72,000 or thereabout. $720,000, sorry. $720,000 in advance. In anticipation that he was going to leave government house. In a poor state like Kogi, and you want me to close my eyes to that under the guise of saying I'm being used. Used by who? At this stage of my life, used by who? By who? For crying out loud. I assumed office here. I didn't initiate the case. I edited the case file. I called for the case file. I called for the report, and I said, look, there are issues here. Do you know on my own, on my honor, I put a call across to him, which ordinarily I'm not supposed to do, just to honor him as a governor, as a immediate past governor. Sir, there are issues. I've seen this case file. Can you just come? Let us clarify these issues. He said, sir, I thank you, my brother. I know, but I can't come. There's one lady, I don't know what her name is, that she learned she had said, she has surrounded the EFCC with over 100 journalists, to come and embarrass him and intimidate him and all kind of stuff. I said, okay, if that is your fear, I'm going to pass you through my own gate, special man's gate. You will come to my floor. We will accord you that respect. I will invite my operatives. They will come and interrogate you or interview you in my own office. What could be more honorable than that? In my own office. To allay the fear. Ah, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You know what he said? But can't they come to my village? That's what he told me. Can't they come to my village to come and say? I told you. He also brought it. He sent a message to him. My director of investigation sent a message to him. Some of the people that we thought are crusaders, they are on the payroll of the man. And that's the truth. We are investigating it. We are building a case against everyone involved. Whether you are a governor or not, we are building a case. Let the whole public hear. We are building a case against those who obstructed justice. You are sitting, you have immunity today, you won't have immunity forever. We are not stopping there. It's been watch listed all over the world. It can only run. They said there's no law in this country that we are following. Let's all of us declare that we are a state of barrier. Everybody go and do what they like. Like I said, I don't mind the outcome of this case, but the right thing must be done. If we don't see this case through, I won't have any moral right to accuse anybody of corruption in Nigeria. I will resign.
Today, we have the president who is courageous. Mr. President have a lion's heart, and nobody should dare him. We will not wait for God to send an angel with wings to fly into Nigeria to fix it. Should I tell you who the angel is? The angel is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Nuisance leleyi. Nuisance leleyi.
So eventually, Yeye Bello showed up and they struck a deal, and right now, the case is in court. And as usual, Yeye Bello retraced his step back to Kolu and is now bragging that anybody that will stop Tinubu from winning Kogi State in 2027, they should get ready for him. They would have to go through him to stop Tinubu from winning Kogi. And you know what that means now, right? Ish. You know, so Mallam is languishing in Olukayode's cell as we speak, eating whatever is being offered. And the hunter is now the hunted. Like I said, the general belief is that in APC, Egbekegbe, accountability doesn't matter, doesn't count. Loyalty is the key. If you remain loyal to the emperor, you can get away with anything. You will get away with anything and everything. But if you are not in tune with the emperor, you may have to cast your nets very carefully, because since they are all swimming in the cesspool of corruption, filth, greed, selfishness, self-centeredness, there is no chance that you're not going to have any kind of a shit on you once you jump into the puddle with them. So therefore, you have just one option: follow the emperor, or they will whip you in line. But somehow, sometimes you just feel like it's like this excessive power of those who claim to be in government. We are in government today. Now with their power, we can do anything. When you check all these excesses, you begin to wonder the vanity of this power itself. Because normally the power was supposed to serve the people. It's an opportunity to serve the people, change their lives. But no, it is to serve the interest, their own interest, so to say. And most of the time, their interest is always in contrast to the interest of the general public. But they don't care. just form the line like that. Just get in the line. The back of the DM, bro. It's unfortunate, right? Anyway, putting that a little bit aside, there's a bit of a concern. I don't know how recent this video is. I have done my best to go and do the geo-tracking just to understand the origin of it, but it's a bit concerning. Okay. We have the people who, I don't know if they understand what they are getting themselves involved in. Okay. So usually, right, you will know that in northern part of Nigeria, this issue of Israel and Palestine, the Gaza and all of this fight, there are those who have become so religiously connected to them and very passionately too. And I'm not kind of going to like question that, but I'm a bit concerned about the one I'm about to show you, simply because this is Yoruba land and we have people who are actually either out of a sheer ignorance or complete stupidity, right? They are making this, what you call that, Nazi salute, as well as, pledging their, I think, allegiance to Palestine in Osun State. And people are saying, no, they are Igbo people, they are not Yorubas. Go and read the comment on my page on Facebook. There are those who are there who are denying them outrightly. What do you mean they are not Yorubas? Simply because they have chosen this path. That's not enough to deny them, is it? If they are from Iwo, Osun State, and you have children who have been indoctrinated for this, and it is not a skit, then maybe we should all begin to get concerned. Somebody said, oh, these are the, I won't say it now, but watch this.
منهاجنا القرآن وسنة شعارنا الإسلام تمكين ثم الخلافة الإسلامية أهدافنا تحرير الأرض ثم الخلافة مثل النبوة لا لليهود ولا الخلافة لا لليهود ولا الخلافة جماعة تعاون إقراء عقيدة علم ثقافة منهاجنا القرآن وسنة شعارنا الإسلام تمكين ثم الخلافة الإسلامية أهدافنا تحرير الأرض ثم الخلافة مثل النبوة لا لليهود لا لليهود ولا الخلافة. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! No more murder, no more lies! Free Palestine!
Me, I don't understand. Why do we want to go to normal look on shell these days? Yeah? Have you ever thought of that like go to man shell in Nigeria and go to normal? Because I personally know that if you have a country to pay 78% of them will only mental problem. Like kilo shell like what is going on? Kilo happen. There's so much for people to worry about around them, yeah? But somehow, I don't know. I mean, some will say, what is wrong with what they just did? Like, and I'm like, no, I mean, it's probably nothing is wrong. But these are Yorubas in Yoruba land. who understand children, okay, are being groomed for something that is pretty much sinister than what they probably want to let out. Exploiting the poverty that has become so God knows in the country. Like, it's easier to recruit people because sometimes you just feel like, normal now. Since Tinubu became president of Nigeria, here you get you go feel like say, is either now you don't the mad, or you are actually living among mad, crazy people. Here you get. Let me give you an example. People are concerned about this issue of taxes that is going up in January, and they are kind of like a little bit worried because everybody is just saying a lot of things, and it seems like the government has lost the entire narrative totally. Okay, so right now the impression is that people are not educated enough, and with the level of poverty in the country, the insecurity in the country, where people are raising money to pay ransoms and all of that. So people are actually looking for reasons to say this is not the right time for anybody to actually be talking about increasing taxes and all of that. Here you get. Then one more, we never work. It don't graduate. It don't graduate from OSU since 1990, 96 or 97. I have never seen him work in his life. I saw this on social media. He is now a tax expert. Of course, it's a Ronuku, and you know, like when you look at people who are the base of this ABC, they are people who are being exploited simply because of their, economic situation as well. Sure, you get. JJD tax expert. Person will never work in his life, never paid the tax in his life. A graduate too, just doing anything and everything. He is now explaining to those of you with the earn 150,000, 250,000. He's there, like he was doing it like they hired him, just copying and pasting things from everywhere so that those of you who wanted to, the people are paying taxes all over the world. It is taxes they used to. People were even educating them that, you know that United States of America, right? They didn't introduce tax or taxation until after 137 years of independence. I didn't know that. It's through this whole conversation. Person will never work, we never own any business, we never make any real money, living off people for years. It's advising those of you who are concerned that, what about me that is collecting 150? What about me that is getting paid 200,000? What about, I said, you go pay tax, everybody go pay. I mean, easy. If you are collecting 250,000 naira, it simply means that your tax is going to be about 27,000 naira or 28,000 naira. So figure it out. Like what they are saying about, what about the taxes that, they say, but businesses are going to pay more. Yeah. No, you're going to pay more. Because whatever businesses makes as their profits, right, they are going to factor in the taxes as well. So which means you're going to pay more. So a lot of people are concerned, but I was like seeing people maybe say they look for giveaway on social media. They are now those who are advising people who have businesses worried. Those who have jobs right now that they are like jobless because their take-home pay have not been taking them home. You get me now? Like people with the work, most of them have become beggars. Like people are working, but they are begging for help. That's how much the economy has kind of like shrunk their pockets. You know what I mean? But people will not get job. I mean, save for those who are actually politicians, those ones they hired, all these their social media sellers and all that. We still get paid something. They call them data boys, right? But nobody they pay you. Just radio alleged that, defending the same thing that keeps you in poverty. it can only be, it can only be, you know what I mean? It's crazy, yeah? So let's take a bit of a detour. I was going to take you to Ask Old Rock, as well as with the Weekend's house. I don't think we have all of that time, but let's manage it. Let's start with, remember when the October 20 protest, organized by Omoyele Sowore to mobilize people just ahead of their already predetermined judgment to send Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to prison, life imprisonment. And then they unleashed the police on them that day. And at the end of the day as well, Omoyele Sowore, Aloye Jimako, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's brother, and 11 others were arrested by their police. And they did everything to keep them in, remember, to keep them in Kuje prison or so for days, just to deny them bail. But eventually they were granted bail for a case that was supposed to start today. With all of that noise that, protesting for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was an affront on the judiciary, it was a threat to Abuja, they violated the restriction they give on them, all that stuff. So it's time to now start the trial when they were to be found. Let's go to that court, right? Including inside the court. Okay. So Omoyele Sowore, and one of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer here.
Now, also some people have been asking. Some people have been asking about what happened to my Facebook that I have not been addressing people.
They asked me.
So, well, we decided to concentrate in the things that we are doing. And I want to say that this particular funny convict and the sentence of Nnamdi is a blessing in disguise. I was surprised that about 5 serving judges, which I will not mention their names, Federal High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court, serving, have taken this thing upon themselves. In fact, one even called me this morning. They have written grants of appeal and sent to us. So I continue to ask myself, does it mean that we still have some judges with conscience in this country? The answer is yes.
Yes, we have.
I can comfortably tell you that I'm not talking about the retired judges, those that are serving. Then when you're talking about the retired judges that have taken this thing upon themselves, one called me. They are busy calling me, asking me, please, have people filed appeal? We said no. They said don't file. Don't file. We are interested. They were researching. Professors, both here in Nigeria and abroad, they have taken it upon themselves. I said, sure. So, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, people love you like this. Not Igbo, so from Yoruba nation, houses, those with conscience. Yes. Those who felt that, no, this thing cannot happen to this man. Now, having said that, I want to also tell you that I was at a correctional center yesterday at office of the Controller General of the Correctional Center. That was on a Thursday. I went there to go and see the director, the Controller General. The problem we are having is that if you watch, if you read that particular judgment, in the sentence he said, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu should be kept in any protective custodial center within Nigeria. He never mentioned any place. Now, the time we went to DSSS, because we went there, that was the sentence and the conviction and sentence was done on the 20th. On the 21st, we went to that place. They told us that they have moved Mazi Nnamdi Kanu out. We asked them where. They said that we should go to their headquarters, DSSS headquarters. So, when we went to that place, they told us that we should not be coming here, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been transferred to Sokoto. We said, how? We said that we should go and ask the correctional center that the thing is no longer in their power. Good and fine. We went to Sokoto. They said that the order is from court. We said no. The judgment did not specify that it was in Sokoto. Why should you use their power to transfer in Sokoto? They said that we should go back to that court. We went to that court. We applied to have the CTC of the remanding order that particular city has not been given to us. Now, the correctional center have told me on Friday, though they have not replied my letter, I said, please, can you reply this thing? They said that the judge in the remand warrant mentioned Sokoto. This is man inhumanity to man. This is wickedness to the highest order. The question Nigerians are asking, including those with conscience here, why Sokoto? You know that this man has interlocutory appeal against your ruling and their judgment, which he filed by himself at the Court of Appeal. He also filed some motions at the Supreme Court. The day he went to Supreme Court, people saw how people with conscience left their work and they were telling him, encouraging him that he shall overcome. Now, on what basis are you taking him to Sokoto? Now, we are not asking. Today is it's the 15th. So today is 15th. By next week, now that week, Sunday will make it 20 a complete 1 month. This convict and the sentence was done. Now, Nnamdi has lost all these days. He has not filed his appeal. Because one, he is representing himself on record. Now, can federal government move in with the same private jet, with the same presidential jet they used to took him to Sokoto? Can they use the same presidential jet to bring him to Abuja here so that he can file his appeal? For the why I'm saying this, for those of you who are asking that you have not seen me, we are working, we are following everything legally, and also want to thank the people of the Southeast, the Igbos. We have shown maturity, continue to show maturity, because they want to so that they can do something. And also, not only the Igbos, when in Nigeria, people with conscience, nobody should take laws into their hand. We are following it. We have written the necessary letters we're supposed to write, and we believe that at the appropriate time, justice will be done. But finally, before other people will talk, I also want to advise the president. I want to advise the president.
He's actually a guy that talks too much sometimes. Sometimes he talks shite, repeating himself and the rest of that. But he made some very much valid points, which includes the deliberate transfer of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to Sokoto. That's deliberate, and it's also technical. Once a judgment is delivered, an action followed right away. If it's custodian judgment, well, they take the the accused, they take him straight to correctional center, prison. But when you know that this person will still have the right to appeal, right, and his case is happening here, there is no point in throwing him there if you don't have the intention of frustrating his appeal. The time, and like he pointed it out, well, it's almost a month now that they gave this judgment, which means about 4 weeks has been wasted. And based on this technical plan to get him to a far end, you know, that it won't be easier for him to walk straight into the court and put in his appeal. Now, you can say, but that his lawyers could do that for him. Well, again, there is no law that says he can't represent himself. There is no law in Nigeria that says he can't. Now, if those who deliberately did this, simply because they have that leverage, yeah, the abuse of power, are not cautioned or kind of like, condemned, so to say, then what is justice in the whole thing? Though Nnamdi Kanu already said that he's not expecting justice from them. But you see all of this, they are to kind of remind you, right, of what a dead rule of law looks like when it is now the rule of guns and the rule of men, where law is completely like what happened there today as well, when the Supreme Court of Nigeria, without any constitutional backing, without any section of the Constitution to actually really explain their judgment, the Supreme Court of Nigeria declared that Tinubu's declaration of state of emergency and removing the elected officials in that state for 6 months was legal. Now, Supreme Court of Nigeria has granted an extra power that the Constitution didn't give Tinubu. They have granted it with that judgment today. So any president in the future can wake up and just be like, you know what? For the sake of, I hear that you want to fight yourselves in Lagos and declaring a state of emergency, and is going to appoint a sole administrator, and just like that. Because that is what the Supreme Court just did with that judgment. There are many others like that, but this is how you build a system that no longer have any form of a rule of law in existence. There is law, there are rules that also guides laws. There are those who are the protector of that. Their job, like judiciary, their job is to protect every sanctity of the law. That's what the Supreme Court is for. If all of them from other lower courts have kind of like, you know, they have manipulated the law and their judgment and the rest of that, Supreme Court is where you get clarity. There is no appeal after Supreme Court. But today, the Supreme Court of Nigeria just gave the president of Nigeria that non-existing power. But it's actually a very huge power that an elected president can remove an elected governor. So that's Nigeria. And yeah, the other part of the conversation was when they went straight into the courtroom. Showore and others, they policed the issue. No, they didn't. There was still a session though. Here.
Emi went on BBC. Showore was trying to overthrow the government. Now you have overthrown the naira. And now you are in prison.
Even overthrow dollar.
Yes, overthrow dollar. So overthrow France.
What I'm talking about the judiciary. Yes. I hear them saying, please don't allow anybody to make you a subject of a prayer point.
Yeah.
People have made some judges their prayer point. Yeah. How can somebody make a prayer point because of the judgment you gave? And you said that you are happy.
You can't be happy.
You can't be happy.
Since the Motor gave this judgment, every time people walk into his courtroom, he's explaining himself. Okay. Every time. Even when they didn't ask him.
Yes. He will explain that.
So let's just go and prepare for. We will back out.
So we leave it. We leave it at that. So at the appropriate time we'll be updating you people. So please, can we go into the court? Okay. Let's go to the court. Okay.
Okay, this is name, offensive and surveillance. These are the defendants. I don't know they are. Okay. Have they changed his name from that outside name?
No, we have to correct them over and over again.
But they put alloy, they put 2L. 2L, alloy wheels. Alloy. There's one name missing though. Chima. No, they are here. You know there are two cases. Okay, yeah, no, this guy. Two.
You just can't waste it.
Waste of time, yeah. This is the base of the make me a video to do an update.
That was them waiting. And of course, yeah, the court session eventually held. However, the police representative didn't show up. That's a magistrate court, by the way, the Kuje Magistrate Court, where they took their case to, and that's like far, far away from where the incident actually supposedly happened. And they did that on purpose because that's where they could get a judge that would help them, to detain them for public disturbance and disobeying court order and all that. So today they were supposed to be in court, they were not there. And this was Shure and others in the dock. And this was Shure addressing the court.
I've been called in several courts. My friend here. And so many cases. As a result, we need time. No matter how bad we feel about extended time, we have about 5 cases in which he is appearing against us at the federal high court. Most of them criminal cases, frivolous cases. But I know we don't want to hear the word frivolous. So I'm saying that, you should also consider, because I'm going to be contesting next year and declaring to you, we need time. By next year, we'll be 1 year exactly from the presidential elections. These people cannot be dragging me from court to court over this kind of cases when we need to save this country. So please, my Lord, consider time for us. I'm always available to you. Even when cases don't involve me, I come to you to make sure that. When did you come to me? When did you come to me? No, I said we come to your court. I said we come to your court. When do we come to your court? That's what I'm saying. I come to this open court on behalf of others before I was charged before you. So I want you to consider a fairly reasonable atonement for us. I've been saying earlier, my court is a court of justice, not for any party of justice. Yes. If you put this case, I will do it. No problem. If you put this case, I will also do it. I don't know any of you. I'm from Singapore. I don't have any of it. I know the Sultan. I'm just saying that this was politically motivated to disrupt my campaign.
Sure. He was asking for the courts not to entertain this distraction because he's going to be busy next year to run for president to save Nigeria. And this is politically motivated. They just want to distract him, which is not totally true, right? But that's a distraction part here is true. Sure you get. So, and maybe everything is true, just to distract him. Shure is kind of like crazy though, He just got elected as the national chairman of AAC about a few days ago, I think, in their convention, Congress, a big convention or so. So it's just a trouble for them. Anyway, the court then adjourned. Ejimako.
Well, okay. My name is Aloy Ejimako. I'm one of the defendants. We have identified ourselves appropriately. We call ourselves the Kuje 14, who participated in 20th October 2025 Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu protest. It was a civil protest directed towards the Attorney General of the Federation and the presidency. The protest was never directed against the court. We know what we are doing. When we want to speak to our government, we should have rights. As citizens of this country, disagree with our government. And if that disagreement would take the form of a protest, the only condition we need to satisfy is that we got permission for that protest, which was done, police permitted, and the second one was to protest peacefully, which we did. And the third one was to keep away from the perimeters that may have been barred from being entered during the protest, and which we did. So I really don't know what we did wrong. The only thing we did was exercise our basic right to peaceful assembly. I'm here with my colleagues who participated. I consider them the heroes of this country, people that are courageous enough, young men that are courageous enough to come out and tell the government there is something you are doing that you are not doing right. I think Nigerians should be encouraged to do that. This is how we advance our society. Nigeria cannot be advanced if we decide as all of us to be yes men. We are not zombies or mugus or anything. So the government of the day should be able to be tolerant of dissent, of disagreement, done peacefully and civilly, and that's what we did. So today we came here in defense of freedom and in defense of the right to disagree with your government without drawing countervailing consequences. So we're here to answer to these charges, and we intend to prevail and be set free. The prosecution, unfortunately, wasn't ready, so they were begging the court to give them another date. I would have thought that prosecution is ready to prosecute us, but they are not. So I don't know what's going to happen when this case comes up again. I think on 26 February, that was the date that was given to them to marshal their evidence and close this case. So we look forward to that date, and we thank all Nigerians who have expressed their support publicly. I have seen a lot on social media indicating that a lot of Nigerians understand the situation perfectly well, that this is not really prosecution but persecution. So we look forward to getting justice before this magistrate. And I'm here to express implicit confidence, complete confidence in the capacity of the magistrate to do justice to us. Thank you.
You're welcome. There's nothing to say more. So I'm going to say thank you again to every one of you that joined the conversation this evening. So please remember, if you haven't really shared the broadcast, please do like it as well, okay? And then I am going to see you another time. So tomorrow, I'm thinking that from tomorrow, I could just, open the studio, okay? And open the line as well. Let's have a phone-in segment that could last for as long as we want, starting from tomorrow morning, right? But we'll see. Enjoy the rest of your evening or afternoon. So, and you all have a great week. Good night. From here, let me show that. Okay, yeah. Good night.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun dayari Politico. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àní ẹ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Jíjó ìgbádìyẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Prẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Kí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Maiyegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Maiyegun ti dé.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀. Maiyegun ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkan ṣáàtì ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
Kì máa yí ṣeré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣeré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Maiyegun ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti dọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán o àkàmù. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ túnra kì í o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ òní fi wọ́n níran.